Wow, it's been a while. Mike and Sid, we are finally back. It's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't even know. But I can't wait to get into this topic. I'm excited. We may be rusty, but here we are. I'm Sid. I almost said I'm Mike. That's how rusty I am. I am not Mike. I am Sid. Next to me, to my left or right, whatever you guys see is Mike. What's good?
How's it going, Sid? Yeah, it's actually been almost a month since our
Really?
last episode. Yeah, it was June 7th, and here it is,
Oh,
July
shit.
5th. It's been too long,
That
but
is almost a month.
yeah, we've had some scheduling conflicts.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about like what happened before we go into our topics. But nothing bad happened. But life happened. I know
Yeah,
you had something. I had something. But again, this is hate to see it. I don't know if I said that in the beginning. Just two guys talking about whatever the hell we want to talk about. But again, it's been a month, as Mike mentioned. So, Mike, what have you been up to this month? What was one of the reasons you were delayed? And not
it,
necessarily, and it wasn't just you that was delayed. I was delayed too. But what was one of the reasons why you couldn't record in the past?
yeah. Well, there's just one weekend, the weekend of June 11th, that I knew I was going to be unavailable for a long time because it was my brother's bachelor party weekend. So
How was that?
it was awesome. We went to a golf resort in New Jersey, played a lot of golf, um, had some good food, drank too much. It was awesome.
Sounds like a formula for a good time.
Yeah, it was a great time.
So Pat enjoyed it. You had a good one.
Yeah, yeah, he loved it. He loved it.
So I guess this is technically post. I mean, COVID's not gone, but this is post lockdowns and everything. So I'm assuming everyone was just doing whatever the hell they wanted. No masks, right?
Oh, yeah, it was like everything was back to normal. It was packed. It was so crowded. Like if you didn't have dinner reservations, like you couldn't even get dinner. Like there were not that was kind of frustrating. Like it was so crowded that like yeah, like one night we had dinner reservations one night, which was awesome. And then the second night, like there wasn't even like some place like you could just go and get food if you didn't have reservations. We had to like order pizzas, which was ended up being fine. But yeah, it was so crowded. It was like it seemed like it was booked beyond capacity. It was crazy.
Well, good thing it was not in California, because if it was in California and you ordered pizzas, then that bachelor party would not have been good. But luckily
That's true.
you were somewhere that you could have some decent pizza.
Yep.
Now, I'm assuming the plans were changed a little, right, with the bachelor party, because I'm sure it was planned before COVID. Or am I wrong?
I had started like right before COVID. I planned it for my brother, and yeah, just before COVID last year, I was in the middle of planning it, and we were gonna do something similar, like a golf weekend, and then just kind of abandoned it once COVID happened.
Okay, but I'm sure you did a good job. I'm sure everyone had fun. Congrats again to Pat. Bachelor parties, they're always memorable experiences for the most part.
It was definitely memorable, for sure.
Good. And then for me, I went to Vegas. So that was another weekend we were going to record. But it was a trip me and my boys from work had planned for a while. So we went to Vegas. That was a great time. Last time we went was March. And I think I've talked about this in our podcast, but March of 2020, literally as COVID was happening. And people were not wearing masks 100% then, but you could tell things were starting to change. But when we went back, Vegas was fully open. It was great. There again, it seemed like there was no restrictions anywhere. Everyone was having a great time. No masks anywhere. just talking to random people, just having a blast. You know, we had some really good dinners. We didn't gamble as much. Now with Vegas, I'm sure we could do a whole topic on Vegas.
Yeah.
But I always feel like you have a couple group of people that go. You have the people that go that just want to party. They don't want to like have good food. They want to eat like shit. They don't even care about eating. They just want to drink. They want to wake up, start drinking, go all the way through, go to the clubs, go to nightclubs, have a good time. They barely gamble. So that's one, the pool. Yep. That's one crowd I've been with. And then you have a crowd that likes to do the fine dining, shopping,
the shows,
exactly. And that's like the crowd I went with this time. You know, we did a pool, we did a nice cabana, and then you have like the mix. But for me, it's like I don't want to go too extreme one way. When you go too extreme, like Vegas becomes taxing.
Yeah.
But this was the perfect amount of everything. It was a great trip. I had a blast. You know, I want to go back. You know, SummerSlam's coming up. Maybe we'll go back in August. But it felt good to do like a post-COVID celebration and just not have many concerns. Just do whatever the hell we wanted.
Vegas, I love Vegas. I haven't been in a few years. I would love to go back, but I got to tell you, Vegas in August just sounds like hell. Like it's gonna be 110 degrees. Like no, I don't think so.
When I was there, it was like the second hottest day ever in Vegas history.
What was the temperature?
It was like 117 or something.
Oh my god! Yeah.
But you know what? We didn't feel it surprisingly. Because you know, if you stay at a good casino, it works out. You don't really have to leave that casino. Now, if you were to win an encore, like everything we needed was there. You know, we ventured off a little for the different nights for restaurants and stuff. And during the day, the biggest thing that I will recommend when I go back with my friends, with you guys, if you go to the pool, you need a cabana. And the cabana we had was shaded. We had an indoor section, outdoor section. Like we would have been burning up if we didn't have that cabana.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's because you know when you go to the pool when you want to, when you come back, you have a TV, you chill, you order food, you're not like melting.
There's like a TV in the cabana.
Oh yeah, it's a really nice cabana.
Oh, nice.
You know, I was watching golf. I was watching was it the Euro Cup? I was watching some soccer. I think it was the Euro Cup. I forget. But we were just having a good time. Like the cabana is a must.
Well, you just mentioned golf, and that reminds me that I have a bone to pick with you because this weekend that you were in Vegas, the golf that you were watching was in your backyard. It was the US Open at Torrey Pines in San Diego. You left town that weekend. Like you should have gone. Like it would have been awesome.
I was in Torrey Pines the last day. I was back for the last day.
No, you weren't. You didn't go.
You
didn't send us any pictures.
I was in Torrey Pines.
No, you.
But I was not at the golfing.
What the hell are you doing then?
Well, actually, Torrey Pines is not that far from me, so I was actually having lunch in Torrey Pines while the finish was happening.
Could you hear anything going on?
Oh yeah, I heard "Viva la Mexico" because the guy who won was Mexican, right?
No, he's from Spain. John.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was Mexican.
Nah, he's Spanish.
Interesting. Yeah, Rom sounds like a Spanish name, but for some reason I thought he was Mexican.
No, he's not Mexican
at all.
As far as I know, he's Spanish. Like I've never heard of him being Mexican.
Well, not to offend anyone, but nothing wrong with that. But no, it was good because a couple weeks before that, he got pulled from a tournament that he was leading.
Yeah, he was leading by like 8 strokes at the Memorial Tournament, which is a pretty big tournament. It's Jack Nicklaus's tournament, played at his course every year. And he's leading by like 8 strokes after 3 rounds. And then he tested positive for COVID. He had no symptoms, but he tested positive and he had to pull out of the tournament. And like he was going to run away with it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the US Open's like 2 weeks later and he's fully recovered from COVID and he wins it. It was awesome. It was just a great story.
It is a great story.
Just a great comeback story. I was really happy for him. It was a great US Open. You had on the last day, you had a lot of the top golfers in the world were in contention, could have won it. You had obviously you had Rahm, the runner-up Louis Oosthuizen. You had Brooks Koepka was in it, Rory McIlroy, And then Bryson DeChambeau was in it for a while, who won the
Until he
US Open
choked.
last year. He absolutely choked. He got an 8 on a hole, and it just
choked.
Collapsed.
You truly hate to see it.
You do truly hate to see it. But yeah, so then it's like around the 10th hole or so, it becomes clear it's either going to be John Rahm or Louis Oosthuizen. And Rahm just has these amazing clutch birdies on the 17th and 18th holes to basically seal the win.
And I was in Torrey Pines
these were not easy putts. These were like 20-foot downhill, hard left to right breaking putts. They were two similar putts, and he just drained both of them, and the crowd just roared. It was like, yeah, the pandemic is over. Like that was one of the things that was really missing, like with live sports. So you need a crowd. Like these like empty arena games were just like so hard to watch, and it was just awesome. It was one of the best moments in pro sports in a while. Like certainly like the biggest
and it was my backyard
moment. Yeah, I can't believe you weren't there, man. It was history.
I was in Vegas. Vegas takes priority.
You hate to see it.
Depends who you ask. But Mike, let's kick it off with our topic. Let's just keep it short. Let's do one each. You go. What do you have for us?
Okay. My topic for hate to see it, love to see it is what is on my wrist right here.
Nice.
An Apple Watch. I got it a few weeks ago. I actually had it in the last episode, but I don't think we talked about it. And I'm pretty sure you have one of these too, right?
I do.
So I just want to get your thoughts on the Apple Watch. Do you love to see it or hate to see it?
I truly love to see it. I think it's phenomenal. I don't know why more people don't have it. I've had it over 5 years now. I think the second generation when it came out, I'll probably buy a new one at some point. But it was my first paycheck when I moved out here to California that I bought the watch. Not that I needed a paycheck to get it, but I was like, let me put this money to good use. And I've used it 5 days a week since. I don't usually wear a watch during the weekends. But the reason I really like it is text messaging and alerts. Because when I'm at work and my phone is in my suit pocket, if I'm in a meeting and stuff, the text comes through, I can easily look and I know what's up. If it's important, I take my phone out. If it's not important, I just ignore it. I think that's a very underrated feature. Like it sounds simple, but I can't tell you how many times that has come in through clutch for me. Just because I may be expecting something and then I don't have to look like a fool, take out my phone, look at it. I can easily see it on my watch, and it's just so helpful. And I'm sure there's more ways I can utilize the watch. It's good for obviously swimming, running, all kinds of stuff like that. But once I get a new one, I'll probably utilize it more. But for just the basics, like I cannot go without it. What about you, Mike?
I love it. I'm really enjoying it. Just going along with what you were just saying about like just quickly checking texts. I think that is just such a good use case, and not just text, but like pretty much any kind of notification that comes into your phone, whether it's like an Instagram update or breaking news story or a tweet or Facebook post, whatever. You could just quickly check and see what's up. It's kind of frustrating these days when you're in a group setting, you're at a party or you're out at a bar, out to dinner, and like everyone's just like looking at their phones. It's like, what the hell are you doing? We're here together. We're supposed to be having a conversation, but it's like, people are addicted to our electronic devices. So it's really hard to just leave the phone at home. Like that's just not going to happen. That's not going to happen for most people like our age. But the watch lets you keep the phone in your pocket. You can quickly check what's going on, and it's not distracting. You can still look like you're engaged with the group. I think it's great for that. I think
you just got a text right now. Did you?
No, it accidentally. I think Siri just accidentally. Siri keeps on. No, it says no accident. What the hell? It said like no accident. I don't know if Siri's like trying to send me a message or something. But so yeah, the exercise I have been doing a little bit with that. I like you have the 3 rings that you can close every day. Yep. It's like the move ring. Yep. You just move around a little bit. The stand ring, it wants you to stand like at least once an hour, like 12 times a day. Mm-hmm. And like if it gets to like 10 minutes before the hour, it'll like remind you to stand up. And like I find myself doing it because like it gets addicting. Like you want to close the rings. And then there's like an exercise ring. You got to exercise for 30 minutes a day, and you could customize them all. Yeah. to fit your needs. And with the exercise, you know, it's funny. I get up every morning. I tell my family I'm going to go for a jog, and then I end up not going. It's a running joke. Do you get
It's
it?
good. I get it.
No, but no, yeah, I have been using it for my workouts. I go for walks. It tracks your walks. You
Yeah,
can
the
even
walks is good.
you can control the music or podcasts right from your watch, which I really like.
Yep.
Yeah, and it tracks, and then you can check on your phone. It syncs up with your phone. You can check like how you can look exactly like where you walked. Keeps track of your distance, your steps, your calories burned. So that's all really cool. I really like that. And then another feature that is really good for me is there's an app you can download. There's several, but I downloaded one that is a golf GPS app. So you go on a course and it tells you how far away the pin is, like from where you are. So
Oh wow.
you know what club to use. So that's really cool. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's a great little device. I should have got one a while ago.
They should have. Apple, this is a free endorsement we're giving you. Feel free to hook me up. I have a second generation. I can use a new one, but we will love to plug your stuff. But again, everyone should have an Apple Watch. Like, I just really don't get it. Like, even when I'm in the movie theater, Mike, I get the text message, I see it. It's just so convenient. I was just literally thinking about this the other day.
Just sorry, just so I don't forget, because you mentioned movie theaters. I went to see a movie, which we're going to talk about, with my Apple Watch, and I put it in theater mode, so it darks. The screen gets dark. The screen gets darkened, so it's not like distracting you or other people around you while you're in the movie. Do you not do that? You just leave it on?
I just leave it on.
And is it beeping? Is it like chiming and stuff during the movie, or do you turn the sound off?
Mine doesn't make. My sound is off. It's always been off.
Oh, okay.
It vibrates.
Okay. All right. Sorry,
Yeah,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But yeah, mine's pretty dark, so you can't even see it.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it, but other people don't get bothered by it. But the thing I was going to add, watches. Like, I'm starting to get more into owning watches, right? I used to have a nice Rolex, like maybe like a couple years after college. I forget when. But I was thinking, because one of the guys I went to Vegas with loves watches. He owns so many like expensive watches and stuff. And I was thinking, like, yeah, it'd be great to have a nice watch going out to dinner and stuff. But how do you replace the Apple Watch? That's like only my concern. And I have another friend at work. He wears two watches. He'll wear Apple Watch on one wrist and then his really nice watch on another wrist. So some people do that. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you like the two watch thing, or is it a little too ridiculous?
I don't like the two watch thing. I know that Apple does sell some higher end bands for the watches that are made by like luxury brands, but that's not the same thing as that's just the band. It's not the watch face. So, but I mean, yeah, you could, if you want to have a fancier Apple Watch, you can definitely spend the money and do that. Yeah, but that's a good question. Like, how do you, is there like a solution that Apple could come up with for, like, if you want to like go out to dinner and wear your Rolex or whatever? Is there something they could come up with that, like, preserves some of the functionality of, I don't know. Maybe they could either. Maybe they could partner with like a luxury brand and come up with something.
Because that'd be cool. Because again, I just love that feature of having the text and stuff like that. But what's cool is my friend, he's got this app. It shows every watch that he owns, and then he inputs how much he spent on it. So it shows, because watches, they fluctuate on price. Because you could sell watches, like I sold my watch more than I bought it for,
right?
Even though I've owned it, because it's a really good, it's a Rolex, So like it shows every second like how much his watch is worth, and it shows like if it's gone up, if it's gone down, has all the stats. It shows how much money he has in watches, like the grand total. Like, it's a really cool thing. I was like, holy shit! Like that's taking it to the next level when you have an app that shows you your investment in watches, how much you can get by the second. Like, I was like, I want to get to that point one day where I can have an app that tracks my my assets, my watches.
That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it, but yeah, it's showing like, he could make so much more money if he sold all those watches now, because most of them have gone up.
Yeah, a lot of I know that secondary market, like the used market for watches, is like, I mean, a lot. That's how most people, if you're into watch collecting, that's how they get their watches. Like you
Yep.
don't buy them new. You get them on the secondary market.
I almost got my Rolex secondary, but then because it was a really good price, and I looked in the back, it was engraved from McDonald's. So
What?
someone who worked at McDonald's apparently got this watch and sold it. And then I told my friend,
They spent like
well,
6 months worth of paychecks on it or something like that.
no, I think what happened is my friend was telling me, the watch collector, that if you work there for a certain amount of years, they give you like a Rolex.
Oh, okay.
So I'm assuming that's what it was. Like that's a really cool gesture.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think McDonald's would do that, but yeah. Then at the end of the day, I was like, nah, I'll just buy a new watch, which I did. But yeah, I like to get back into it.
That's
all right,
cool.
Mike. Good topic. My topic now. Now with the Olympics coming up, I can't pronounce her name. I'll just pronounce her last name, Richardson, female track star. She gets suspended after qualifying for having THC in her system. Now this is
marijuana, right?
Yeah, marijuana. Now this is a big debate. Everyone's pissed. Everyone's like, well, in 18 states, it's either recreational or medicinal. Like this has gone ridiculous. Like sports have to stop tracking or testing for marijuana, testing for THC. Now she's gonna miss the event that she qualified for. They're saying she might make the relay team. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, how could you get disqualified for one but not the other? But either way, she's missing out. You know, people are coming to her defense. She said that like her biological either father or mother passed away, and she used it as a coping mechanism, which I understand. There's a lot of good benefits to weed, and I'm all for weed. But Mike, do you love or do you hate to see this?
Well, I hate to see it. It's like it's pretty stupid to suspend somebody over this. It's not a performance enhancing drug. Even if it were a performance enhancing drug, it's not something that, like, just hypothetically, let's say like it calms you down and somehow enhances your performance. It's not a long-term acting drug. It's only effective when you're using it. It's not like anabolic steroids where you're using it to build muscle mass over a period of months and years. So like if she's not under the influence of the drug during the competition, it's not giving any benefit to her.
But they say
during the Olympics.
Correct. But they were saying what happened is, and I could be wrong, I'm not the expert in this, but just saying it was tested in her system like when she was competing. Like they might it wasn't like 2 weeks later they found in her system. Like it was in her system when she competed. And again, look at what you're saying, it didn't give her an edge, right?
But that doesn't mean she's under the influence when she's competing, right? I mean, doesn't it stays in your system for a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I'm not sure exactly how they figured it out. But
are they saying like she was high during a competition?
No, I think they're saying it was, and again, I could be wrong. I haven't researched this, but I think they were saying it was in her system. But I'm sure there's different ways of finding out. Like, was it recent? Was it like 2 months ago? Like,
right.
I'm sure but this is my stance, Mike. Again, I'm all for marijuana. I'm all for like recreational smoking. I think all our states should eventually decriminalize it and make it not just medicinal but recreational. I'm happy she got suspended though, and this really was surprised because at the end of the day, like you're competing to represent your country. This is a big deal. The Olympics happen every 4 years. Like there's a lot of sacrifices you have to make to become an Olympian, right? This is giving you the opportunity to potentially win a medal, like even a gold medal, which you'll have forever unless you sell it, but you'll be in the record books. Like people will always remember your performance. No one could take that away from you unless you were caught cheating. So I expect you to make sacrifices for that, to be in that group of people that, qualify and compete. So I get it that she's going through troubles, but like you should know better. If you're competing for the Olympics, you should know what's allowed and what's not allowed. Like to me, that's like a lazy way out. Like, I get it. I know she's struggling. Someone passed away, and I get it that it helps. I understand. I'm all for it. And I want that to be changed, by the way. I want it to be no longer tested. I'm all for that. But at this moment, she should know better. I'm sure people educated the people that are competing that you can't have in your system, whether it's a valid reason or not. Now, again, she made the mistake. She should own up to it. Like even what's his name, Phelps loves smoking, right? And he's one of the greatest Olympians of all times, but he was never caught with it while he was competing because he knew what his body needed. He knew what was legal, what's not legal. And I think if you be fully dedicated to represent your country, it is a huge honor.
Well,
And I think she failed.
I hear where you're coming from. I mean, she definitely knew that it was a banned substance. Like she can't claim like she didn't know the rules. Like she knew the
Correct.
rules. Everyone knows like that rule. So like I can understand that perspective. Like it's the rules. She broke the rules, and the rules should be applied consistently to all competitors. Otherwise, it's not a fair competition. So like I understand that, but like they should have changed the rules a long time ago. It shouldn't be in the rules, which I guess I sort of agree with you, but I wouldn't go so far as to say that like she did a bad job representing her country, or like she made a mistake. It's a small mistake, and
It
it's a
is, but when you're
very
competing, go
it's a
ahead.
very harsh consequence for a very small mistake.
It is, but it's also showing you if you want to represent your country, you have to play by the rules. You have to be fully in. And again, I hope this is put into good use. I hope eventually the community realizes they should not be testing for this. And many sports realize that and they eventually get rid of it because I think this could be a turning point. Sometimes you need something like this. Sometimes you need to be that person that helps inspire change. But again, for the purpose of this Olympics, she failed, unfortunately. It would have been great to see her compete, but that's just my opinion.
All right.
And that's why we have a segment because we have differing opinions at times.
Yep, definitely.
So let's get into it, Mike. We're gonna
You want
talk
to dive
about
into our main topic?
yeah. Let's quickly get into it, Mike. I was trying to think of another word to say fast or say fast, but I couldn't think of it. But Fast and Furious. We both saw the latest movie which came out. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the franchise, our thoughts, if you like it, what we didn't like. But let's just have a casual conversation on what was it called? Was it Furious 9 or Fast 9?
I
F9?
think it's
What was
called
the
F. I
title?
think F9 is the official title of the
F9?
movie. Yeah, it has the most
So
confusing naming conventions with these movies.
for sure. And it's like if Brock Lesnar did it F5 but span around 4 more times, became F9.
Yeah, but I've just been calling it Fast 9, so I don't know.
Yeah, I like that, Fast 9. But so was this your first? No, I don't think. Well, you tell me, Mike. Was this your first movie back from COVID or no?
Yeah, this was the first movie I've seen in a theater since the pandemic, and the last movie I saw before the pandemic was just shortly before the pandemic. I saw the Pixar movie Onward, and that was just a couple days before everything shut down. And so that was back in March of last year. So it had been like 13 months, no, 15 months since I had
Holy
seen a
shit.
movie, seen a movie in the theaters, and it was really good to be back. We went to a big AMC multiplex, one of those movie theaters that are common these days with the reclining seats where you have full control over the seats, and they have the raised stadium style seating. So there's not someone's head in front of you blocking your view. And so yeah, I bought the tickets online using like Fandango, where you get to pick your seats out ahead of time, and we got awesome seats right in the middle of the movie theater, so we were centered right on the screen, more towards the back, but not all the way, because I like to have perspective. Like we were pretty much in the middle though, and one of the things we did an episode a few weeks ago on the movies and how much we love going to the movies.
Wait, that was a real episode? It's so long I forgot.
Yeah, you and I did. It was like 2 episodes ago. You don't remember this?
I guess, but I didn't realize the whole topic was going to the movies. Was it really?
Yeah, we did a show on it.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I haven't watched our last like 2 or 3 episodes.
But
that's not good.
But it really did remind me why I love going to the movies, because it was a big screen. It was not an IMAX, but it was a very big screen. And basically where I was sitting in the theater, the screen almost filled up entirely my field of vision. Like, and that's one of the big contrasts. Like you get home, even if you have a big screen, like I know you have a big screen, like a 65-inch TV. Even if you have a big TV at home, there's still all this other stuff you can see around the TV. Yep. You can see your the window or another furniture or whatever. But you're at the movie theater, almost everything that you see is just the movie, and it's a very immersive experience
It's a
watching.
needed experience.
Yeah.
And just before we get too far, like you're saying again, you need that full screen, whatever.
Yeah.
Like just the other day, I'm watching a movie in my apartment, and then this has never happened before. I'm surprised. I've been here 2 years. This girl just like peeked in from like she came close to my balcony, which usually I can't see people unless I literally like go out of the way. And she picked in and she was looking in. It's like, who the hell is this girl? And like this, it's distracted me from from watching the movie at home. But you're not getting that in the theater. There's no distractions like that.
And the sound is so good, and it's so loud, and it's all enveloping. It's all around you. You got these floor shaking subwoofers, and I have at my apartment, I have good speakers. Like I spent a lot of money on them. But I don't have a subwoofer because I live in an apartment building and I don't want my neighbors to murder me. You basically can't have a subwoofer if you live in an apartment building because it just shakes the floor. But yeah, I do have good sound at home, but it's just the movie theater. It's just another level. You really can't, you can spend a lot of money on building a home theater, like a really nice home theater, but it'll never compare to going to the theater.
It won't, unless you have a lot of money and you actually replicate a theater in your house.
Yeah.
But still, like there's no better experience. And I think people were trying to argue if you don't need theaters anymore because you can stream everything now. Movies are coming out on Netflix or Apple TV, not Apple TV. What's it called? Disney and all that. But no, I am for it 100%. Like you need that experience. There's nothing better. It's sad. Some theaters closed down. Since COVID, I realized the one in LA that I used to go to, which I really like closed down. It sucks, but you need that experience. It was good to be back. I was back in September of last year when I saw Tenet, but still, that's a long time. Like I haven't seen a movie since Tenet.
Right.
But it was good. It was good to go back. But one thing that really pissed me off, I don't know how this happens. Like generally, I don't get popcorn, but for some reason, I had the urge. I was like, you know what? I want some popcorn. And then I have the AMC app, and they're saying like you can pre-order your food.
Yeah.
So when you go there, it's available. So I was like, oh, let me try this, and I was gonna pre-order it, but they only had caramel popcorn in the app. I was like, what the hell is this?
What?
So I go there and I ask for popcorn. He's like, we don't have it. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have it? Like, how does it, like literally you guys just opened up? Like you guys have been closed for COVID for a long time. Like, how is there no popcorn?
Yeah.
Like that's just the thing that just should be there. I'm like, what does this mean? Like, is this a shortage of popcorn? Like, what's going on? like we sold out. This is a 7:00 showing. Like
they
what
sold out of popcorn. That's absurd.
On a Thursday. I'm like, who's going in the afternoon? Like, what? Like, how is this possible? Like, it made no sense to me. It pissed me off. I was looking forward to it all day, like getting some popcorn. But now I'm going back on Thursday, and if there's no popcorn again, I'm gonna get really pissed.
Well, I got my popcorn, and that was another thing that just reminded me about the difference between the movie theaters and watching a movie at home. Like, I don't eat popcorn that often. Basically, the only time I ever eat popcorn is when I go to the movies. I got my big popcorn. I got my big Coke Zero. You ever go to the grocery store, go down the aisle where they sell the popcorn? There's all these choices you can get, and some of them like actually claim that it's like movie theater style popcorn. It's not. It's none of it is as good as what you get in the movie theater. And then the fountain soda. The fountain soda is so good too. And yeah, it's just great. Watching a movie, having a popcorn, having a big Coke. It's a good
experience.
It's one of my favorite things to do for sure.
I got up. When I got up, I woke up Gato, which was unfortunate turn of events. My balls were starting to hurt. Like I sat on my bowl or something. So I had to adjust, which doesn't happen. I'm very uncomfortable.
That's a sign that you're getting old, El Cid.
Maybe. It's possible. I've got toes everywhere. But yeah, let's talk about the movie, Mike. What were your initial thoughts on F9?
So yeah, watching the movie early on, there's a scene where like I knew something was off with the movie. And that's this scene where they're in like a shootout, and what's Tyrese's character's name?
I'll make this very clear this episode. I suck at names. Any movie, I'm terrible with names. I've said it before, like with the famous James Bond line, names are for tombstones. And that's just the way I roll. So I'm not gonna be able to help you out with any names.
So Tyrese is in a shootout, and like there's like 10 guys like shooting machine guns at him, and he's not even like running that fast. It's like it's just like absurd that he didn't get just mowed down by these machine guns. And like that was the first thing that like gave me a little pause to the movie. It's like, what's going on here? That just looks total bullshit. And then but very quickly they lead into it, and they kind of, him and Ludacris have like this running joke throughout the movie where it's like Tyrese is like maybe thinking that like maybe he's immortal because like he never dies in these crazy situations. And actually ultimately I end up thinking that that part of it worked. And I think I don't know, I haven't read too many of the reviews. It didn't really get great reviews, but I imagine this is one of the criticisms, like just how over the top some of that stuff was. And I think they actually handled that part of it well, because basically they're kind of winking at the audience, basically letting the audience know, yeah, we know this is preposterous, but just like have fun with us. And I think if you go in with that attitude, it is fun. And some of the stunts in this movie, like every movie in this series, like they try to one up themselves.
Yep.
And they certainly did that in this movie. And I don't want the franchise to continue in this direction, because it was, some of the stunts were so over the top that it was cartoonish. You have one scene where early on in the movie, I think it's Tyrese and Ludacris are driving along a drawbridge in a car, and the bridge gets cut and is falling, and they are driving up the bridge when it's like vertical. It's like no way. There's no,
that whole scene was ludicrous.
Absolutely, the scene was ludicrous. Didn't make any, like, didn't conform to any of the laws of physics. It just looked. It was just totally fake. It was total bullshit. And then you had a scene which was really cool. Just a few minutes later, where Vin Diesel comes to that same drawbridge and he has to cross it, except the bridge isn't there. But the only thing that is there is a rope spanning this chasm. I don't even know how he did it, but somehow
didn't make sense.
Somehow the rope gets connected to his car, and he uses it to essentially swing across. It was cool. That one was a cool stunt, but it was just like so absurd. And then there was obviously the one where the craziest one of them all, where they attach a rocket to a car, and the car goes on a plane. The plane flies up really high, and then they drive off the plane and use the rocket to go into orbit around planet Earth. And that was just, it was funny. It was probably the funniest of all of the Fast movies. It's a lot. I laughed a lot during the movie. I had a good time with it, but it wasn't one of the stronger entries in the series. Actually, one of the things, I thought the script was just, it wasn't a very strong script. And there were just things that just, there was stuff that just didn't seem to make sense. Like there's a part.
Do you hear Gato, by the way, or no?
Yeah, I do hear Gato. Tell him to shut up.
He's agreeing with you.
There's this one part where Vin Diesel meets up with John Cena, his brother, in the movie, and he gets like arrested by like Interpol, like, which is like international police. And it turns out that Vin Diesel somehow knew that he was going to get arrested by Interpol, and the agents were not real Interpol agents. They were his friends, and they like let him loose. It's like he knew this was all going to happen. It's just ridiculous. It make no sense whatsoever. And then another part of the movie, we find out Han, who died in Fast 6.
We'll talk about Han together,
but just briefly, I didn't understand that. It just didn't make any sense to me. The scene with Interpol one of the agents is apparently someone who Vin Diesel knew. It was like some girl. They have like a short.
Yeah.
I had no idea who that was. I don't remember. Do you know who she was? I guess she was in some
No,
movie.
she must have won the movies.
So yeah, I just thought the script wasn't that strong. But one thing I really did like about the script was the flashback scenes with the
Yes, I wanted to talk about
the
that.
young
Yep.
Dom and the young Jacob. I thought that stuff was good. I
It was
really
phenomenal.
I thought it was a good story. And I just have to imagine if I'm an executive at Universal Studios, I gotta be like pushing for like a prequel. They could do a prequel series. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
story to tell with those actors. They could do a whole
Oh yeah.
new series. I would be shocked if they didn't do it.
Yeah, they probably will.
So overall, it was a fun time. It was not as good as certainly it wasn't as good as 5, 6, or 7. I don't think it was even as good as 8.
I think it was better than 8.
You think it was better than 8? Okay,
Yeah.
I'd give it like a 7 out of 10.
Okay. Now you made some very good points. I think you pretty much covered everything. We could just end this podcast right now. It's done. We quickly went through it. What was that? Your watch?
No, I just took a sip of beer.
I heard like a woman's voice. What is that? All right.
There's nothing.
Is there someone like? Have you handcuffed someone behind you? Do you have a victim or something trying to ask for help?
No, it's just me here.
Well, in the comments, if you heard a female's voice somewhere, let me know. I was interested. But again, I liked it. You know what? Going to this movie, I've seen the trailers, right? And the trailers covered most of the outrageous stunts. Like we knew going in, or I knew that drawbridge scene was going to happen. I knew some of the ridiculous stunts were going to happen. And I think the last one had this ridiculous stunt with like a submarine.
Yeah.
So again, this movie has been pushing the envelope for quite some time. Like, I mean, most of their movies have some outrageous stunts, especially the ones towards the end. Like even in Dubai when they go through the buildings or something. I don't remember exactly.
Right, exactly. He from one skyscraper to the next he drives, and that was the other one that I was thinking of. But that one, at least it looked like maybe
it happened. It's possible.
Maybe it was possible. Like some of the stuff in this movie was impossible.
Yeah, it was. And going into this movie, I knew this movie would be ridiculous. I had an expectation. Part of me thinks it wasn't as ridiculous as I thought it could get. Like I thought it was going to just be even more ridiculous. And I mean, those scenes that you mentioned were ridiculous. But for some reason, I thought it was going to be so much more of that. But I don't know. For me, I think it was very close to being too ridiculous. Like overall, the flashback scenes that you mentioned, I think really tied everything together. Because I don't think they showed that in the trailers. Maybe they did. I don't remember seeing it. But to me, it was new. It hasn't really been done in the franchise. And it was needed. They needed to have that connection between him and his brother, who is John Cena. Like,
right.
Because again, there was no mention of his brother the entire 8 movies.
Right.
So you couldn't just have another new character be tied to Vin Diesel without a backstory. So I thought emotionally, it really grabbed me. Like I thought, like those parts, like not that I was tearing up, but I was, like it really got to me. Like even the end when they did another thing to honor the late actor that passed away,
Paul Walker.
Paul. Yeah, like even that last thing at the end, like they continue to show his memory. He's still alive in the franchise.
Right.
I thought they did this one pretty well because they got his wife in the movies engaged more because she's had a back seat the last couple movies.
Yeah.
So this time they were able to bring her back because this is a family matter. It made sense to have her character involved, and it made sense why Paul Walker was not in the movie because they said he was taking care of Vince's kid and his kid. Right. So it made sense. But I don't know how many more times they can do that in the franchise where he just doesn't show up. Now, I think they've said there's like 2 more movies left.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's going to be another nod to him, maybe a couple, but like, you can't drag it on that long and just continue just having him be sitting out. But I think the emotional ties of the movie were great. Now, the one thing, like, I really hope they don't do this. I don't think they will, but it seems like most of the villains end up being good guys somehow. Somehow they're all like, it's like even even who's the actor with The Rock now? Shaw.
Jason Statham's character.
Yeah, like he was bad, now he's good. and
Right.
now John Cena looks like he's being good again. Like they reconnected, they work together. Like if the next movie, if the villain Charlize Theron like ends up being like a sister or something related, like I'm like this is ridiculous. Like
Mm.
I hope they do not turn her character around. There's too much of that going on in this franchise. Like she killed the mother of Vin's kid. If they somehow bring her back into the story and say like they make amends, like that's really gonna piss me off. I don't think they will, but so many times again, like I feel like what happens is a character does a really good job, and they're like, oh, we're gonna keep this character, but we can't have got to get out. We can't have it. Oh shit! I'm trying to bite my wires. So they try to keep the character going, but with Charlize, they can because she's the villain. I just hope they don't like make her a good person.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a mistake. One question I had, I must have missed something in the movie. Like she's in like this like glass like prison for most of the movie. What was that? Why was she in that?
I think she gets captured by
By Cena, right?
That's what I was trying to think. Was it? Did she get captured by Cena, or did Mr. Nobody capture her? Maybe no. Maybe
Mr. Nobody had. I believe Mr. Nobody had her in his plane or something like that,
yeah,
and then I think Cena like
captured
her from Mr. Nobody.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So he had her imprisoned in this like glass like prison,
Yes,
and then he was using her to get information from her or something like that.
I think he realized like she can't be trusted. Like he needed her, but he realized like he couldn't have her just be out there to do whatever else she wanted. Because at the end of the day, sorry fans about Gato, because I think at the end of the day he felt like her motives would trump his motives, and she'll try to screw him over. Mm-hmm. So he just had to keep her locked up. But they didn't really do a good job about telling that story. Like it just all of a sudden just happened. She's locked up. There was no background. I think. Go ahead.
The other thing is, this is the third or fourth movie in a row where like the MacGuffin in the movie is this device which just like controls every electronic device in the world. Like was this one like different? Like because there in 7 there was something called God's Eye. Was this different than God's? Like how is this different than God's Eye? It seems like it's like the same thing. Like what was different about it?
Yeah, I think God's Eye, I could be wrong, but I think it could explode all the nukes in the world or something like that. Like it had the ability to override all the nuclear codes and whatever. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong again, but I think they're similar, like you're saying. Like they're just gonna make shit go wrong. Like it's not gonna be good for a villain to have it. And I think a lot of movies suffer from this. Is like, what can our villains think of next to use against our heroes? And they kind of run out of like we really didn't need it, honestly. I don't know what the motivation was for John Cena's character to do it. Did it explain why he wanted it? Like
I think he was just hired by that other villain. That I think he was just a gun for hire, essentially.
Oh really? Okay. I thought
because there was that other villain, right?
There was.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell there were. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe he was like I thought they were partners or they're not partners. Like they didn't really do a good job. Maybe I have to rewatch it, but it just the villains are kind of losing, like in a lot of movies, like they become super villains. Like what they're trying to achieve is just ridiculous, like not feasible. I don't know. Yeah, like that's it's like the James Bond villain. Like they always want world dominance and they have some ridiculous plan. Like even No Time to Die. I hope the plan that this villain has isn't something just outrageous.
Yeah, like that's why like Skyfall was so good. Like sometimes you need to scale it back, right? The plot, yes. It can't always be about like world domination.
Exactly. You make a really good point. And like honestly, did we need it? Couldn't it have just been Dom versus brother? Like I would have been just fine if that was the really driving point, which it was, but I didn't need that second element.
Yeah.
Whatever the device was. Like I really didn't need it. Another thing that bothered me, it was the magnets.
Oh, like, yeah.
So the villains had the magnets, right? But eventually they take the magnets, right? The good guys, and they use it over and over again. The whole movie, they're using it. Almost every scene is using the magnets.
Right.
Like it just like, come on, like how many times are you gonna use it? It had some cool stunts, especially towards the end, but literally is too much. And like it was so effective. Like, are they gonna use like obviously they're not gonna use it in the other movies, but why not? If it was that good, it seemed like they should just keep on using it as part of their repertoire. It's like the Nas. Like the
Right.
Nas is always in, but like it kind of took me out of the movie that they just kept using the same trick over and over again.
Well, yeah, and along with that, one thing that they never really address in the movies, I guess you're just not supposed to think about it, is the collateral damage, because they cause so much destruction in these chases, and with the magnets, there's just like cars getting sucked in left and right, like they should be killing. These magnets should be killing dozens, if not hundreds of people. Like, do they not care? I think you're not. I think you're supposed to assume that nobody gets killed unless they're a bad guy in these movies. But there's really no way that they could know that they're not killing. It should be killing people, like a lot of people.
Cars are flying from everywhere.
Yeah.
So you imagine someone just sitting down, reading the newspaper in his car, eating a bagel, whatever they're doing. All of a sudden they get pulled by a magnet, like they'll be crushed, they'll be dead.
Yeah. So like
civilians.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Now, I mean, you brought it up and I stopped you, but Han, another he was a beloved character like in the other movies.
He was only in 2 of the movies, I think, before, or 3. No, maybe he was first introduced in
Tokyo Drift,
right? I guess he was in the 4th one, Fast and Furious.
I think he was.
And then he was in 5 and 6, I guess, as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was in like 4 of them.
Yeah, he had a big role.
Yeah.
But obviously a big death originally. Now they brought him back. What were your thoughts on him coming back? Do you think it was needed, not needed? What's your opinion?
I thought it was not needed, and I honestly, I'll have to rewatch that scene because I don't know what the hell. I know that Mr. Nobody somehow faked his death, and they wanted people to think he was dead. So did it have something to do with the girl that he was protecting?
Yes. Yeah, like it was something with that girl.
But Deckard Shaw Shaw was actually trying to kill him, right?
That's the confusing part.
I think
he was,
and he thinks he succeeded at killing him.
Did you? I didn't see the credit scene. I didn't know.
Oh, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. Basically, Han just shows up at Deckard's at Shaw's door, and he answers the door and sees him. He's like, oh shit, and that was it.
So yeah, I
don't know. I have to read what the whole explanation is. I doubt that it makes sense. Yeah, I highly doubt that it makes any sense.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it makes sense. I mean, it was good to have him back, but again, just too much going on for me to grasp what exactly happened. You and I can't even grasp what happened. We're trying to figure it out. It just didn't make sense. Like, yeah, we knew Mr. Nobody had a role with it. He's protecting this girl, but like that's like several movies. Like, where the hell? Like, how come he hasn't reached out till now?
Yeah,
I don't know. And he didn't really have a huge impact, right? On this
Not
movie.
really.
No, like I thought he'd be more meaningful towards the plot. Like, I guess you could argue he was because with the girl, but like again, I'm glad to see he's back, but I don't know if it was needed. I don't know if this was the moment that they could have brought him back. I thought that maybe
he's like a father. He's not dating this girl, right? He's like a father figure.
No, I think he's a father figure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they had Gal Gadot in a flashback because he was with her, Gal Gadot, and they're both. She's dead. Her character's dead too. And I read that was just like a deleted scene from Fast 6 that they used. They didn't actually get Gal Gadot to do that scene. Do you think they'll bring her back too? I bet they'll bring her back. I bet they will.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah,
they will somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're gonna. I mean, this one didn't make sense, so I guess they don't have to make the next one make sense.
Right.
But I'm sure when they end the series, she'll be back in some capacity.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing. Like, you bring all those people back, and then I'm sure it's gonna be like. Honestly, this movie could have been the finale for me. Like, it really could have been like the end. Like, again, they're all.
If you were gonna have a finale to the series, it should have been the 7th one. The 7th one, it really could have ended with Paul Walker and Vin Diesel driving in separate ways. Like, that would have been a perfect ending for the series.
Man, that would have been. I agree. And even this one, they go back to rebuilding the house. It looks like they're back I think it got destroyed. I forget. So many things happen. You just forget with this franchise. But everyone was back together again. Paul Walker was showing up. The kid was doing grace. Again,
Yep.
I'm just thinking, what can the finale be? Like, I don't know. Like, what is the ending gonna be at this point? Like, you think you have to involve Paul Walker, but I don't know. I'm just very interested to see what the ending is gonna be.
Yeah, I want to see I want to see The Rock and Cena together. I hope they're in the same movie. That would be cool if they have some kind of. They have to, right? They have
They
to
have
do.
to, yeah,
Yeah,
100%. It's gonna happen. And you made a really good point about the flashbacks. There's too much there not to continue this franchise.
I think that after 11 and 12 are done, I think we're going to see a prequel series. It just makes too much sense for them to not do it. The money, it's one of the Universal's biggest franchises, so they're going to keep it going. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure they'll keep. I'm sure they'll keep it going with Hobbs and Shaw, and I think they'll do something else. And the prequel series makes sense to me. And you just reminded me of something. One thing I liked about the flashbacks that we saw. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen the original Fast and the Furious in a while, but I'm pretty sure it's part of Dom's backstory that he spent time in prison for killing someone with a wrench.
I think so. I think you're right. Yep.
And then we find out exactly. They show us exactly how that happened in this movie. So it's like stuff like that. That was a nice touch.
That was definitely a nice touch. They did a really good job with the flashbacks. The younger Dom, did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you think it was they could they have cast it better? He sounded like Dom.
He
Like
sounded a lot. It almost sounded
like
it almost sounded like Vin Diesel was doing the
the
voice.
voice. I thought they could have. Go ahead.
I almost wonder if he was doing the voice.
Yeah, I thought they could have done a better job of the casting of the actor.
Mm-hmm.
Like he kind of looked much older. He looked older than Vin Diesel.
They
like,
both looked older than they were supposed to be. I think they were supposed to be like 17 and 15 or something like that. They both looked like they were 25.
Yeah. I mean, like Vin Diesel looked like in better shape than this guy. The younger, like older Vin Diesel looked much better than the younger Vin Diesel. But yeah, the voice was great. There's a lot of room they could work on there. And I guess it's a way to bring Paul Walker back. You can have a younger Paul Walker.
And they had what's his name? What's the actor's name? Who took care of Jacob?
Oh yeah,
and he's from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians Galaxy. Yep.
What's that guy's name? What's his name?
I forget his name. I told you I stuck with names, but
that was like I think a nod to the movie. Have you ever seen a movie called Days of Thunder?
Yes. Yep. It was
with Tom Cruise, because he was in that movie. He was the rival. He was the rival of Tom Cruise on the racetrack. That was a racing movie.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that was a nod to that.
And the guy that the father raced against, that he beats up with the wrench, Scalise would know him. He was an actor in True Blood. I haven't seen him recently, but it's good to see him back. There's another thing that I thought, I don't know if it was interesting, but so the woman who's with Ludacris and the other actor, was it Tyrese? Yeah. The hacker, right?
Yeah, the one she was introduced in the 7th movie, right?
Maybe even earlier, honestly.
I think it was the 7th movie. Pretty sure.
Which is Dubai 7?
7th, yeah.
For some, you might be right. No, with the 7 was, this is 9?
This is 9.
Maybe you could be right. I feel like she's been around longer. She's in Game of Thrones. So I thought it was interesting because you have this core cast that they've been bringing back for a while now, and then all of them are phenomenal drivers. But finally, they have someone like it came out of nowhere, but they had someone who actually can't drive.
I liked that scene. I thought that was good. I thought that was fun.
It was fun. It was interesting because again, it's a movie about driving, and this whole time we didn't realize that she couldn't drive. She's the hacker. I thought it was good, but also I don't know if it's sexist, but like, why did a woman have to be the person that doesn't know how to drive?
Like, I mean, so many of the women are good drivers in that movie that I feel like it doesn't matter.
But it was a good way of utilizing her. Like they give everyone fair amount of screen time in these movies, even though they have such a large cast. I think they did a good job of balancing all the actors. I can't think of her name, but Paul's wife, she did some more action this time.
Yeah.
She has been used in the past, some movies I don't think she's even been in them, but it was good to see her kick some ass as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mike, overall, like with the Fast and Furious movie, let's talk about the first one really quick. Do you remember seeing the first one live or when it first came out? What was your initial memory? Like, how'd you get involved with this
Yeah,
franchise?
so I didn't get into the Fast franchise until late. I didn't see the original until after the first. I believe the first Fast movie I ever saw was the fifth one. I saw it in theaters. That came out 10 years ago. That came out in 2011. It's hard to believe that that was that long ago.
Wow.
10 years. So that was the first one I saw. And I love that movie. I still love that movie, and that got me hooked into the series. And eventually, I went back and watched all of them. And so, yeah, I own all the movies on Blu-ray. So yeah, I just I didn't see that the first four in theaters, and then everyone since the fifth one I have seen in no the eighth one actually I didn't see in theaters, but I've seen 5, 6, 7, and 9 in theaters. Go ahead.
When was the first one? When did the first one come out?
It came out like probably 20 years ago.
That's you mentioned this. It's so hard to tell which is the titles are so confusing.
It's that one's The Fast and the Furious.
There we go. The Fast. So this came out 2001. We were in high school, right?
Yeah, it was 20 years ago. That's crazy.
What grade were we in?
Well, what month was it, first of all, that it came out?
June.
It was June. So that was all right. So that would have been summer. It would have been after we just finished I think sophomore year. We would have been going into our junior year of high school, I believe. Yeah,
so I think we started.
Yeah,
and I think we started driving sophomore year, right? When
it depends what state you lived in. I got my license junior year.
So this movie, when the first movie came out, perfect time for me and a lot of my friends because we were just starting to drive. We were just starting to get our permits and whatever.
Yeah.
So this had a huge influence on us. When it first came out, like we were addicted. Like I'm telling you, my entire school, everyone was all about driving fast. Like everyone was all about the cool cars. Like it really had a big impact on us as high schoolers. Like I even had like a custom like padded seatbelt, which I got. Like my steering wheel had some stuff. I had gloves. Like everyone was trying to be like they were in this franchise. Like it really, it just really hit us hard because again, we were just literally starting to drive. So it hooked me in right there. Like once when the first one came out, like I remember like constantly watching that movie. Like I bought a little gas like race car, not a battery car, like an actual gas race car. Like anything I could do with revolving cars, I did because I was addicted to this movie. And the first one is so different than the other ones.
It's very different.
Very different. And I think it still holds pretty well. You know, I think they did a really good job with that first movie. And then obviously we know the second one didn't have Vin Diesel. I think it was just Paul Walker.
Right.
Third one didn't have Paul Walker, but
and
then
Vin Diesel just shows up in a like at the end in like one scene.
Exactly.
He's not even in the, so yeah, that one was like a total spin-off.
Total spin-off. The second one was not good.
Right. Most people say that that's the worst one, which I would agree with. But it introduces Tyrese, that one.
It does. It does. Yeah. Yep. Which is great. And that's the other good thing. Like the movies that suck, they still have a lot of those characters from like it's a franchise. Everything's still connected. And the third one, like really, I thought it was different than all the other movies, but I think they needed that. They needed something a little different to kind of get people intrigued again, like Tokyo Drift.
They brought back the main guy from Tokyo Drift in the ninth one.
They did.
Yeah. I think he might have shown up in another movie, like just briefly. Do you know which one it was? Like the eighth one or seventh one?
You're talking about the guy that looks like Eli Manning, right?
Yeah. He showed up in another movie, but just briefly.
Briefly, yep.
This was by far the most we've seen him since Tokyo Drift.
And even the other rapper, what's his name? His partner, Bow Wow. No, Bow Wow.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that character.
Yeah, but yeah, they're both back. Even the other Asian guy was back. It was good. This movie really connected the whole franchise, honestly.
It really did, yeah.
But again, for me, like the third one, like Izzy's the one that kept watching it in our townhouse. I don't know if you remember or not. Like he used to always have it on, and I kept watching. I've watched it so many times. Like this is interesting. Definitely way better than the second one. And then the fourth, they brought the team back. It was good, but it wasn't amazing, right? I forget.
The fourth, but it was an amazing movie. But I think the fourth, was kind of a turning point in the franchise because that was when they really started to turn it more into like an action movie, like where the
Yep.
prior movies were more like racing movies about like the mod community and like the underground community and like that subculture. The fourth one is when it really started to turn more into like an action franchise.
100%. And then the fifth one was the heist, right? They started
Yeah.
doing a lot of like heist movies.
Yeah.
But it's just very neat to see a movie when it first came out that was very popular. But again, you thought like this was a movie that may not go. You thought this would be a one and done movie,
Yeah.
and then the sequels failed, and you're like, all right, one and done. And then Tokyo Drift, but then they really reinvented themselves. Now we're gonna have at least two more, potentially many more. But it's just great to see that they've been pretty steady.
Yeah. It's actually it's one of my favorite franchises. It's great. So have you thought about like where in your rankings of the whole franchise you would put the ninth one?
It's tough. I imagine 5 and 6 are some of the better ones, right? Top of the top.
Yeah, I and seven I think as well.
Yeah, yeah. 5, 6, 7 are up there. One is up there for me. I think this is probably like the fifth one, maybe.
Okay.
What about you? Like middle of
Yeah,
the pack.
yeah, it's somewhere honestly maybe more towards the bottom of the pack. I'd say it's certainly better than Too Fast, Too Furious. Um, it's probably better than Tokyo Drift, but I haven't seen Tokyo Drift in a while. I don't know if I'd like it better than the eighth one or not. I'd have to. I remember liking the eighth one better than this one. I really liked the scene towards the end of that movie, um, where Jason Statham like has the baby and is like punching people.
Yeah.
I just thought that was and The Rock. I thought that was a really good scene. That kind of sets up Hobbs and Shaw too. That scene.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, maybe it's somewhere in the middle, maybe a little bit towards the bottom. Yeah, I'd probably put 5, 6, and 7 in some order. Those are the best, and then the original maybe, and then the eighth one, then maybe the ninth one would be right. Would be
Yeah,
next.
I think we're pretty much same. I just flip flop 8 and 9 because I
Yeah,
think the emotional connection of 9 really sold me with the flashbacks.
yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
And the ninth again had a lot of like it hit all the other movies in some way. Like it was a good job of bringing everything together. I felt, and this was the return of the director who did 5 and 6, right?
He did every movie from 3 through 7, and then he did not
Wow.
do 8. He didn't do 8, and then he did this one again. He's the one that really turned the franchise around.
He did.
Justin Lin, I think is his name.
Yep, it is. I don't know what he looks like, unfortunately, but
He's Taiwanese American, I believe.
Did he do the?
Which is interesting because John Cena said that Taiwan is not a country, and this guy's Taiwanese. I wonder if that pissed him off.
That's a good point.
I'll have to look that up. I'm kind of curious.
But I mean, what do you think of Cena?
I like Cena. I like Cena in movies. I think he did a good job in this one. Another interesting thing is you had I was trying to, because these days like big blockbuster movie stars invariably they end up in either Marvel or DC, right? In one of and I was trying to think, okay, what movies are these actors in? Yeah, you have Vin Diesel's Groot in the Marvel movies. He was the only one I could think of that was in a Marvel movie. But then you have Cena, who's going to be in the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
But The Rock was not in this one. But The Rock is going to be in DC, right? He's going to be what's that character that he's in the Shazam?
Yep. Was it something black?
Black Adam, right?
Black Adam, yeah.
And then Gal Gadot is obviously Wonder Woman. So you have more DC. More of them are DC than Marvel. I couldn't think of anyone that was Marvel.
I mean,
other than Vin Diesel.
You can't count the other guy that you mentioned earlier, the mentor. He's not doesn't have a huge role.
Oh yeah, that's he's he's Marvel, obviously.
He's Marvel, but he's not like a main character of this franchise.
He was a big character in Guardians of the Galaxy too.
No, he was, but I'm saying he's not a big character in this franchise.
Right.
And I don't think Tyrese is in any of them. Ludacris definitely not.
No.
Charlize?
Yeah, I was trying to think. I don't think Charlize is in anything.
you would think they're gonna eventually put her somewhere, right? You think she's eventually gonna be in some Marvel movie. I could see it.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a really good actor. She's a really
She's
good
good.
actress.
She's good in these two movies.
Yeah, I mean, she's been acting for a long time. Like, I
Did you
remember
think she
from
died? Because they did that twist towards the end where you
Yeah.
think she's flying that plane and the plane blows up.
Explodes.
What do they drive a car
Drone.
into it?
Oh yeah.
Or
think-
the truck
the
swings
truck.
into it. Yeah. And it explodes, and you think she's dead, and then they reveal that she's not in the plane. It was a drone that she was controlling. That fooled me.
Yeah, no, fooled me as well. But no, I've always been a huge fan of Charlie's. She's been in a lot of movies. It's a shame she's not going to be in the. She plays Virtuosa in the fantastic movie that was original Mel Gibson movies, but now they're doing what was it? It's also like a race, not a racing, but it involves cars.
I don't know.
No, you've seen it. Who plays Bane? The actor who plays Bane played with her.
Tom Hardy?
Yeah, Tom Hardy. It was he played like what's it called?
I've not seen this movie.
No, you've seen it. You've seen it. But you gotta love Wikipedia because it's in there. But they're doing like a prequel for this movie of her character Virtuosa, but they didn't cast her. Like they casted another really good actress. It's gonna be great, but like I think she was kind of ticked off because she did an amazing job in this movie, and people were like, she can.
Are you talking about the Italian Job?
No, that's another good one. I remember from. I'm looking. I'll find it right now. It's almost there. Oh, Mad Max, Fury Road.
Oh, I actually never saw Mad.
Really?
I gotta see that movie. It's like inexplicable that I haven't seen it. But yeah, I have to see that.
That's a phenomenal movie to see in a theater. Like I saw it twice in the theaters. Like the sound, like even like it's a really well filmed movie. Like it looks great on a nice 4K TV and stuff like that.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're bringing back her character, but freaking they're not using her, which pissed off a lot of people. You know who's playing her? It's gonna be Anna Taylor-Joy.
Oh, the girl from Queen's Gambit.
Yes, so she's gonna play the younger version of her, which again, she's gonna do a phenomenal job. It just kind of like she's not. I mean, yes, Charlie's been acting a while, but like you could have kept her.
Yeah.
Did you? Speaking of Anna Taylor-Joy, apparently
Anya, isn't it Anya? Isn't her name Anya?
Oh, yeah, I think you're right, Anya. Wow, I always fucked that up. Was she Russian? What is she actually? She was born in San Diego, apparently. Wow.
Oh, really?
What's this? The way she lives in San? No.
I thought she grew up outside the U.S., but I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, I made a mistake. It was a picture from San Diego. She was born in Miami, but she was raised in Buenos Aires in London.
Interesting.
But again, what I was going to say is the chess movie.
Yeah.
The TV show, but apparently some guy from New Jersey just became the youngest grandmaster ever.
Really?
Like, yeah, yesterday. Some guy. It was.
How old is he? Is he like 10?
He's maybe 12 or something. I don't know. He's very young.
That's crazy. That's
but,
cool.
Guy from Jersey. That's really impressive.
Nice.
That's a, not to go off on a tangent, but that's a real like commitment. Like I have a family friend, like his son is not a grandmaster, but like they travel all around like America going into these tournaments. Like it's a big, like I said, it's a big commitment. Like I really enjoyed watching that Netflix series.
Yeah, it was good.
I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover about this franchise. What about you, Mike?
I have as well. I think we did a good job of pretty much hitting everything that happened in the movie, and also did a pretty good overview of the entire franchise. I think we covered it.
One thing I was going to say is like this was the perfect movie to go back into the theaters for.
It was a good one. Yeah, for sure. It was a good welcome back. I think this movie definitely played better on the big screen. Like I think if I saw this at home and I didn't see it in the theater, I think I'd be like, oh, this was bad. But I think because it was in the theater, I think I liked it more. The
timing definitely helped it when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mike. Hopefully we can get our viewers more, not up to date, but more episodes.
Consistent content.
Consistent. I think the key is we need a, not a schedule, but we need some topics.
Yeah.
So fans, if you have topics for us, let us know. We would love to cover anything you guys think might be good. One of my coworkers, she said we should cover bugs.
Bugs?
Bugs. Yeah, I was in a meeting with like my staff, and she's like, "Oh, Sid," and I thought it would be serious, and she's like, "I have a topic that you should cover, bugs." And I was like, "Bugs," and then we started talking about it. There's a lot to cover, but I don't know if it's appropriate. But who knows? Maybe one day we'll cover bugs because it was a request.
Hey, you never know.
All right, Mike, this is great. Awesome catching up.
All right, good talking to you, Sid. Take care, guys.